My family missed my college graduation to watch my brother's Little League game, so I vanished without a trace. 10 years later they found out I'm the CEO they've been trying to get meetings with. Your support keeps this story alive. Please subscribe, and while you're here, tell us where you're watching from. It always warms my heart. I stood backstage in my cap and gown, peeking through the curtain for the 15th time. My hands were shaking as I scanned the auditorium seats, searching for familiar faces. Nothing. The ceremony was starting in 10 minutes and my family wasn't there. I pulled out my phone with trembling fingers and saw Mom's text. "Sweetie, Eugene has his championship game today. We'll celebrate with you tomorrow." So proud. My stomach dropped like I'd been punched. 4 years of sleepless nights, 3 part-time jobs, a 3.9 GPA, and summa cum laude honors. And they chose my brother's Little League game over my college graduation. Not even a real championship, just a local qualifier. I watched classmates hugging their families in the lobby, saw tears of joy, heard cameras clicking. My best friend Doreen grabbed my arm. "Girl, where's your people?" I couldn't answer. Couldn't breathe. The dean called my name, Clara Mitchell, Bachelor of Science in Computer Engineering, and I walked across that stage to polite applause from strangers. No one screamed my name. No one stood up. I accepted my diploma with a smile that felt like broken glass, and something inside me died. After the ceremony, I sat alone in my apartment, still in my gown, staring at my phone. 17 missed calls from Mom. A group text with pictures of Eugene holding a plastic trophy, everyone grinning like idiots. Dad's message: "Your brother's team won. Where are you? Come celebrate with us." They didn't even realize what they'd done. That night I didn't answer their calls. I sat cross-legged on my floor, surrounded by acceptance letters I'd received months ago. Full-ride graduate programs at MIT, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon. My family didn't know about any of them. They never asked. I thought about every birthday they'd forgotten because it fell during Eugene's baseball season. Every school awards ceremony they'd missed because of his practice. Every time Mom said, "Can we talk about this later? Your brother needs help with his homework." I was always the responsible one, the one who didn't need attention. At 8 years old, I'd taught myself to read because they were too busy with toddler Eugene. At 12, I'd forged Mom's signature on permission slips because she'd forget. At 16, I'd worked 2 jobs to buy my own laptop when they bought Eugene a $1,000 bat. "You're so independent, Clara," they'd always say, like it was a compliment instead of neglect. My phone buzzed. "Mom again. Why are you being so dramatic? We said we'd celebrate tomorrow." That word, dramatic, lit something inside me on fire. I wasn't being dramatic. I was being erased. I pulled out my laptop and started making plans. I had job offers in Seattle, Austin, San Francisco, cities far from Atlanta where no one knew me, where I could become someone new, someone who mattered. By sunrise, I'd made my decision. I was leaving and I wasn't coming back. I gave myself 2 weeks. 2 weeks to pack up 7 years of my life in Atlanta. 4 years of undergrad and 3 years of high school in that house where I was invisible. I didn't tell them I was leaving. They wanted to celebrate my graduation at Eugene's favorite restaurant, where the conversation would inevitably shift to his baseball stats within 15 minutes. I canceled. "I have a job interview," I texted. It wasn't a lie. I sold everything that wouldn't fit in my Honda Civic. Furniture, books, my childhood bedroom set that Mom had already repurposed as Eugene's gaming room while I was away at college. The money went into my escape fund. My cousin Tamara was the only one who knew, and she tried to talk me out of it. "Claire, they love you. They're just wrapped up in Eugene right now. He's the baby. He's 17, Tam. When does it end?" She didn't have an answer. The day before I left, I drove past my childhood home one last time. Through the window I could see them in the living room. Dad, Mom, Eugene, my two younger sisters Lydia and Nicole. A perfect family portrait. Nobody noticed the empty space where I should have been. I'd always been the ghost in that house anyway. Now I just make it official. That night I wrote one email. Short. Final. I'm starting my life over. Don't look for me. I'll reach out when I'm ready. If I'm ever ready. See, I hit send at 3 a.m. and started driving west. By the time they woke up, I was already in Tennessee and Clara Mitchell was becoming someone else entirely. Seattle swallowed me whole and I let it. I started my master's program at the University of Washington with a new mentality. No more being invisible, no more shrinking myself. My professor, Dr. Elizabeth Stevens, saw something in me that first week. You have fire in you, Ms. Mitchell. Don't let anyone extinguish it. I didn't tell her I was already burning. My thesis project caught the attention of several tech companies. I was developing an AI-driven data security platform that could predict and prevent cyber attacks before they happened. Revolutionary stuff. Google wanted me. Microsoft wanted me. But it was James Morrison, founder of Morrison Tech Ventures, who offered me something better. Forget working for giants, he said over coffee in Capitol Hill. Build your own empire. I'll back you. At 23, I became CEO of Sentinel Solutions with $5 million in seed funding. We started small, me, two other engineers, and a dream. But I was hungry in a way people who've never been overlooked can understand. Every line of code was revenge. Every successful pitch was proof. Within 2 years, we'd landed contracts with 3 Fortune 500 companies. By year 4, we'd gone public. My mother called once, 6 months after I'd left. I let it go to voicemail. Claire, baby, please call us back. We're worried sick. Eugene asks about you all the time. Eugene. Always Eugene. I deleted it without listening to the rest. I changed my number the next day. At 27, I stood in front of the Wall Street Journal as they photographed me for their 30 Under 30 feature. My company, Sentinel Solutions, had just been valued at $800 million. The journalist, Amanda Reeves, was brilliant and relentless. You never mention family in any interviews, she noted. Most CEOs credit their support systems. What's your story? I smiled the smile I'd perfected, warm but impenetrable. I'm self-made. That's the story. But Amanda dug deeper. Clara Mitchell from Atlanta, Georgia. Computer engineering degree. Disappeared after graduation and emerged in Seattle like a phoenix from ashes. There's more here. Some phoenixes burn alone, I said, and changed the subject to our new government contracts. The article came out and my phone, my new phone, started buzzing with LinkedIn messages. People from college. People from Atlanta. People I'd never met claiming to know my family. I ignored them all. Then my assistant Priya knocked on my office door looking uncomfortable. Ms. Mitchell, there's a situation. A woman named Doreen Williams is downstairs. Says she's your best friend from college and it's an emergency. My heart stopped. Doreen. The only person who'd been there when my family wasn't. Send her up. When she walked into my corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Puget Sound, she stopped dead. Girl, what the hell happened to you? We stared at each other across a decade of silence. I became someone who mattered, I said finally. By disappearing? By leaving people who didn't see me. Doreen sat across from me in my office, and I could see her trying to reconcile the girl she knew with the woman I'd become. My Chanel suit, my custom desk, my view of Seattle's skyline, none of it matched the broke college student who'd shared ramen in a dorm room. Your family's been looking for you for 10 years, Z. She used my old nickname and it felt like a knife. They hired private investigators. Your mama's been sick with worry. Funny how she found time to worry when she couldn't find time to show up. My voice was ice. Doreen leaned forward. I'm not saying what they did was right. Missing your graduation was messed up. But Clara, they didn't know you'd vanish. They thought you were being petty, giving them the silent treatment for a week. I was invisible for 18 years. They didn't notice me gone. That's not entirely true. Doreen pulled out her phone and I felt my chest tighten. Your sister Lydia's been posting about you on social media for years. Missing my sister posts every birthday, every holiday. Your dad started a Facebook group trying to find you. They're broken, Z. I stood up, walked to my windows. Why are you here, Doreen? Why now? Because I saw your face in that Wall Street Journal article and I recognized that look. You're still angry. Still hurt. And now you're about to do something you can't take back. He was right. 3 days ago, I'd received a pitch deck from a small consulting firm in Atlanta. Mitchell Family Business Solutions. My father's company. They wanted Sentinel Solutions as a client. They had no idea I was the CEO they'd been trying to reach for months. I'm taking a meeting with them, I said quietly. I'm going to let them pitch me, let them grovel, and then I'm going to destroy them. Doreen's face went pale. Clara, they wanted me to be something? Fine. I'm a ghost with $1 billion company and a grudge. The meeting request from Mitchell Family Business Solutions had been sitting in my queue for 3 months. My assistant had flagged it as low priority. A small Atlanta-based consulting firm looking to partner with Sentinel on a cybersecurity contract for Georgia state agencies. The proposal was desperate, riddled with promises they couldn't keep. They needed this contract to survive. I could see it in every line of their pitch deck. My father had started the business 5 years ago after being laid off from his corporate job. From LinkedIn stalking. Yes, I'd become that person. I knew Eugene's baseball career had ended with a shoulder injury in college. He'd never gone pro. Never even made Division I. The golden boy had faded and Dad had needed a new dream. So he'd started a consulting firm with Eugene as his partner. It was failing. Their financials, which I'd obtained through perfectly legal channels, showed they were hemorrhaging money. This contract with Sentinel Solutions could save them. Without it, they'd fold within 6 months. I scheduled the meeting for December 18th. Exactly 10 years and 6 months since my graduation. Priya raised an eyebrow when I told her. You never take meetings with firms this small. What's special about Mitchell Family Business Solutions? Personal interest, I said. Book the Pinnacle conference room. I want them to feel the full weight of this. The Pinnacle was our intimidation room, 40th floor, glass walls, a table that cost more than most people's cars. Where we took meetings we planned to dominate. Doreen called me that night. Don't do this, Z. Whatever you're planning. I'm just taking a business meeting. You're playing God with people's lives. Your family's lives. They played God with mine first. They just didn't know I'd resurrect. December 18th arrived with snow flurries, rare for Seattle. I wore my power suit, navy Tom Ford red-bottom Louboutins, hair in a sleek bun. Wore paint for a battle 10 years in the making. Priya buzzed my office at 2:55 p.m. Ms. Mitchell, your 3 o'clock is here. Anthony Mitchell and Eugene Mitchell from. Send them up in 5 minutes. Let them wait in the lobby. I wanted them nervous. At 3 p.m. sharp, my conference room doors opened and my father walked in first, followed by Eugene. They'd aged. Dad's hair was gray now, lines deep around his eyes. Eugene had gained weight, lost that athletic swagger. They looked tired. Defeated. They didn't recognize me at first. I'd changed everything. My hair was natural now instead of relaxed, my style executive instead of student casual, my presence commanding instead of apologetic. I'd even dropped Clara in most business contexts, going by Z. Mitchell on official documents. Mr. Mitchell, Eugene. Please sit. My voice was controlled. Professional. Dad's eyes squinted like he was trying to place me. Thank you for meeting with us, Ms. Mitchell. Z. Mitchell, CEO of Sentinel Solutions. I watched Eugene's face go white. He knew. My baby brother, who I'd helped with homework, who I'd taught to ride a bike while our parents worked, he knew exactly who I was. Clara. His voice cracked on my name. Dad's head snapped toward me, and I watched recognition hit him like a freight train. His briefcase fell from his hand, papers scattering across my expensive carpet. Baby girl. That's not my name anymore, I said coldly. Shall we discuss your proposal? The silence in that room was suffocating. Dad couldn't stop staring at me, his mouth opening and closing like he was drowning. Eugene had tears streaming down his face, but I felt nothing. A decade of nothing had frozen me solid. Claire, Dad stammered. It's Ms. Mitchell in this office. I cut him off. You requested a business meeting. I suggest you deliver your pitch, gentlemen. I have another appointment in 45 minutes. Eugene stood up abruptly. Are you serious right now? We haven't seen you in 10 years. We thought you were dead. Mom had a breakdown, Dad nearly lost everything looking for you, and you've been here? Building this. He gestured wildly at my empire. Sit down, Eugene. My voice dropped to pure ice. You wanted this meeting. Make it worth my time or leave. Dad finally found his voice. His hand shook as he opened his laptop. Claire, Ms. Mitchell, please. Before business, can we just... You had 10 years to just... You have 30 minutes to convince me why I should give you this contract. What happened next was brutal. I made them pitch me their failing business while they fell apart. Dad's voice cracked as he explained their cybersecurity framework. Basic stuff my company had surpassed years ago. Eugene kept stopping mid-sentence to stare at me, like I was a ghost that shouldn't be real. They were unprepared, emotional, desperate. Everything I'd been at 22, sitting alone in my graduation gown. Your proposal is insufficient, I said when they finished. Your technology is outdated. Your team lacks credentials. You're asking for a $15 million contract with a portfolio worth maybe $300,000. Clara, please. Dad's professional mask shattered completely. We need this. The business is all we have left. Your mother's medical bills. My mother? Something sharp twisted in my chest. What medical bills? Eugene spoke quietly. She had a stroke 3 years ago. The stress of losing you, don't. My hand went up. Don't you dare put that on me. I stood up, walked to my windows, trying to control the tremor in my hands. Mom had a stroke. 3 years ago. While I was celebrating my company's IPO with champagne and strangers. Tell me, I said without turning around. Tell me everything I missed. Dad's voice was hollow. Your mother collapsed 4 months after you left. We were at the hospital when we realized we didn't know how to reach you. Your phone was disconnected. Your apartment was empty. You just vanished. We filed a missing persons report, Eugene added. But you were an adult. The cops said you had the right to disappear. We hired 3 different private investigators over the years. Spent every penny we had trying to find you. I turned around slowly. Every penny? You mean the money you saved for Eugene's baseball career? His private coaching? His elite travel teams? That money was gone years ago, Dad said bitterly. Spent on investigators who found nothing. Your mother's rehab costs. Keeping the family afloat. Eugene didn't even finish college. He came home to help when I lost my job. Eugene's jaw clenched. I never asked for any of that, see. Never wanted you to leave. You were my big sister. You taught me everything. I taught you because no one else would pay attention to you when you weren't swinging a bat. The words exploded out of me. Do you know what it's like to be invisible in your own family? To work yourself to death for a scrap of recognition? We know now, Dad said quietly. We figured it out too late. After you left, we found your room full of awards we'd never seen you receive. Certificates, trophies, ribbons. All hidden in a box under your bed. Your valedictorian medal from high school. We never even knew you were valedictorian. The room tilted. You never asked. No, Dad's voice broke. We didn't. And that's on us, baby girl. That's on us. Before I could respond, my office door burst open. Priya looked panicked. Ms. Mitchell, I'm so sorry, but there are two young women downstairs causing a scene, Lydia and Nicole. Eugene was already standing. I told them to wait in the car. Send them up, I heard myself say. I wasn't ready to face my baby sisters, but apparently the universe didn't care what I was ready for. They'd been 13 and 11 when I left. Now they were grown women. Lydia was 23, Nicole 21. They walked into my office and Lydia's face crumpled immediately. Oh my God. It's really you. Nicole was harder, angrier. You've been alive this whole time? Do you have any idea what you did to us? Nicole, Dad started. No. She whirled on him. You two get to have your emotional reunion, but Lydia and I? We were kids. I was 11 years old when my big sister disappeared. I thought someone kidnapped you. I had nightmares for years. Lydia stepped forward, her voice softer. I used to sleep in your room, Z. Even after Mom turned it into storage. I'd curl up on the floor and pretend you were just away at college still. That you'd come home for Christmas. Something inside my chest cracked. I hadn't thought about my sisters. Hadn't let myself think about them. I'm sorry. My voice came out small. That's it. Nicole's eyes flashed. 10 years and we get I'm sorry? What do you want me to say? I felt my walls going back up. That I regret leaving? I don't. Best decision I ever made. The best decision? Lydia's voice rose. Clara, Mom whispers your name in her sleep. He still sets a place for you at Thanksgiving. Dad talks to your picture like you're still there. And you think abandoning us was the best decision. They abandoned me first. The words hung in the air like smoke. Nicole stepped closer and I saw myself in her eyes. The same hurt, the same anger I'd carried for so long. You're right, she said quietly. They did. They were so wrapped up in Eugene's baseball dreams that they forgot they had 3 daughters too. But you know what? You abandoned us too. You abandoned me and Lydia like we were part of the problem. Lydia nodded. We worshipped you, Z. You were our hero. You got straight A's, you worked 3 jobs. You made it to college when everyone said we'd end up like every other family in our neighborhood. And then you just left us there. I felt my carefully constructed armor starting to crack. You were kids. I couldn't. You could have, Nicole interrupted. You could have stayed in touch with us. Could have let us know you were okay. But you punished us for Mom and Dad's mistakes. Eugene spoke up. They're right. After you left, Nicole stopped talking for 3 months. Lydia started getting panic attacks. I had to drop out of college because someone needed to hold this family together, and Mom couldn't do it anymore. Why did it have to be you? I found myself asking. Why couldn't they just, because they broke, Dad said. He was crying now, this man who'd never shown emotion at my piano recitals or honor roll ceremonies. We broke when we realized what we'd done. Your mother keeps a scrapbook of everything she missed. Every award, every achievement she found out about later. She's been collecting articles about Sentinel Solutions for 2 years, hoping the CEO Z. Mitchell might be her daughter. The dam broke. 10 years of frozen rage melted into something worse, grief. I'd spent a decade building walls and my family was demolishing them in 40 minutes. I didn't know how to come back, I whispered. I didn't know how to be the person you forgot again. We sat in that conference room until the Seattle skyline lit up with evening lights. We cried. We shouted. We said things that needed to be said a decade ago. I learned that Eugene had named his daughter Clara, my 3-year-old niece I'd never met. That Lydia was in medical school inspired by watching our mother's recovery. That Nicole had become a youth counselor, helping kids who felt invisible in their own families. I learned that my parents had started therapy 5 years ago, that they'd had to face how they'd failed me. That they'd failed all their children by putting one on a pedestal. I won't give you the contract, I said finally. They nodded. They'd known. But I'll invest in your company. $2 million. Under one condition, you hire a real tech team and stop pretending you can do this alone. Pride isn't worth more than family. Dad's eyes widened. Clara, and you'll all come to Christmas at my house in Seattle. It's too big for one person anyway. I looked at Eugene. Bring my niece. I want to meet her. 3 months later, I stood in my living room watching chaos unfold. Eugene's daughter, my tiny namesake, was teaching Nicole how to build with blocks. Lydia was helping Dad set up his new laptop, showing him Sentinel's basic security software. Mom sat on my couch, still recovering but smiling as she watched her family together again. You forgave us, she said when I brought her tea. I'm working on it, I corrected. Some wounds take time. You became something incredible. Her hand squeezed mine. I wish I'd been there to see it. You're here now, I said. That's what matters. Doreen arrived with her family, and as I watched everyone I loved fill my home with laughter, I realized something. I'd spent 10 years becoming a phoenix, rising from the ashes of abandonment. But phoenixes aren't meant to fly alone. Sometimes they need to return to the ground to remember where they came from. Not to stay there but to heal. To rebuild. To rise together. My name is Clara Mitchell. I'm a CEO, a sister, a daughter. I'm still learning to be all those things at once. But for the first time in 10 years I'm not invisible. And neither is anyone else in my family. We're all learning to see each other now. Finally,